Welcome, beast of the storm. Yes, you, not the fragile one they expected, not the shadow they ignored, not the discarded name whispered behind closed doors, but the force, the eruption, the reckoning. You walked into a world that tried to bury you beneath its weight, tried to chain you with its doubts, tried to laugh you into silence. They underestimated the coldness you were born in, the pain that molded your will, the nights that carved hunger into your bones. You didn't survive what they threw at you. No, you devoured it. The world thought you were weak because you were quiet. They mistook your patience for surrender. They misread your scars as signs of defeat. But tonight, you're not just alive, you are rising. And they don't know how to deal with that. They don't know how to explain what you've become, because you didn't just prove them wrong, you humiliated them. If this hits something deep inside you, that fire, that ache, that wound you never show, then don't just watch this. Let it become you. Hit that subscribe, smash that like. Not for me, but for you. For the broken child still raging in your chest. For the dream that was laughed at in front of you. For the hours no one saw. For the voice that shook but never stopped speaking. You owe yourself this moment. You deserve to hear your own story screamed into the night like a war cry. So let this be the anthem for those who were written off, burned, mocked, doubted, and still stood up with blood in their mouth and a grin on their face. This is for you. This is you. They all had their stories about you, didn't they? Whispered like rumors, passed like currency. He won't make it, they said. She's too soft, they laughed. They'll never last, they sneered. But those same voices now choke on your name. They scroll through your life trying to make sense of what they missed. They search for excuses, call it luck, say the system was rigged, anything but admit that they were wrong. You shattered their predictions. You weren't just the underdog, you were the hidden threat, the secret storm, the quiet weapon. And now they sit in silence, watching you do what they said could never be done. Watching you win. They can't unsee it. Your rise, your victory, your vengeance. Because it was vengeance, wasn't it? Let's not pretend it was just personal growth or inner peace. No. This was war. Every insult, every smirk, every backhanded compliment. You remembered, and you sharpened it. You let it cut you open, and you bled purpose. You didn't forgive. You transformed. And now you walk like a myth they swore didn't exist. A legend written in scars, inked in persistence. The very air shifts when you enter, and they feel it, the weight of what they never saw coming. This isn't just about proving them wrong. That's too polite, too clean. This is about disgracing their certainty. You humiliated their logic, their mockery, their assumptions. You burned their predictions in front of them and made them eat the ash. You made them remember who you are. Not by screaming louder, but by working in silence, by hurting in silence, by building in silence. And then you walked out, not asking for applause, but demanding silence, because your success hurts them, and it should. They thought you'd break. They were sure of it, because that's what people like them do. They project their own limits onto others. They look at you and see what they fear. So when you started climbing, they tried to pull you down. They tried to distract you, humiliate you, isolate you. But you learned to climb alone. You learned to fall alone. And then you learned how to rise higher than they ever thought possible. Now, they have to live with it, with the fact that you didn't just rise. You towered over everything they stood on. Your name is the echo they can't silence. You became everything they couldn't understand. A creature of obsession, of grit, of violent self-belief. You didn't wait to be discovered. You created yourself, in the dark, while they slept, while they laughed, while they dismissed you. You became something terrifying, not because you sought revenge, but because you became undeniable. Because now, when they look in the mirror, they see what they never could be. You. Let's be honest. You didn't do it just to feel better. You did it to burn. You did it so that when they looked at your life, they'd ache. You did it so they'd sit in rooms and whisper, "We were wrong about them." You did it so their friends would ask, "Weren't you the one who said they'd fail?" You did it so that every time they hear your name, their stomach twists. That's not bitterness. That's reality. That's what happens when a wolf survives the hunt and comes back wearing the skin of the hunter. You aren't humble about this. You shouldn't be. This isn't the time for humility. This is the time to own it, to wear the crown made from their broken expectations. You earned this through hell, through hunger, through betrayal, through silence, through nights you almost gave up, but you didn't. And that matters. That means something. Because now, you are the nightmare they accidentally created, the legend their cruelty gave birth to. You are the aftermath of their arrogance. They can't erase you now. You're etched into the timeline. Your success is louder than their doubts ever were. Your presence haunts them. Not because you rubbed it in, but because they know they tried to stop you. They know they wanted you to fail. And yet, here you are, standing, thriving, dominating. You are the scar they gave themselves. And you know what hurts them the most? That you didn't need them. That you didn't crawl back. That you didn't beg for validation. You built your own kingdom and locked the gates. Now they watch from outside, shivering in the cold, wondering what it feels like to matter. But they never will, because they chose mockery over faith, doubt over belief, jealousy over support. And now they get to feel what you felt, but without the strength to carry it. So don't be kind about your victory. Let it glow. Let it shine like a wound made of gold. Let it be the proof that silence is sometimes the loudest scream. And when they look at you, smile. Because you know what they don't. They needed you to lose, but you needed to endure. And endurance always wins. This was never about talent, never about being the best. It was about refusing to stay dead. It was about dragging yourself out of the grave they dug for you and building an empire on top of it. You weren't born a champion. You became one in the furnace of everyone's doubt, in the slaughterhouse of lost confidence, in the graveyard of you'll never make it. And now you own the battlefield. You humiliated them, not just with success, but with silence, with discipline, with elegance. You never had to scream. You let your life scream for you. Every late night, every quiet yes to yourself, every painful decision, every moment you held your tongue while your hands built your dream. That's what humiliates them, the fact that you were better than their hate, stronger than their fear, louder than their noise, without ever raising your voice. So hold your head high, let them talk, let them scramble for explanations, let them compare and spiral and drown in the reality they can't accept. And don't you dare shrink, don't you dare apologize. You were built for this, born for this, forged for this. You didn't just prove them wrong, you humiliated them. And you're not even done yet. Because here's the cruel truth nobody ever tells you. The moment you humiliate your doubters, the moment you surpass their wildest nightmares about you, is the moment the war inside doesn't stop. It only gets louder. The hunger doesn't die, it becomes insatiable. You find yourself standing alone at the summit, but instead of peace, there is only the echo of every scar, every betrayal, every sleepless night you carried like a secret weapon. The world thought this would break you. It didn't. Instead, it sharpened you. You became a blade forged in darkness, cutting through every lie they told about you, every shadow cast over your dreams. And the truth is, that blade never dulls. You keep moving, you keep proving, because once you've tasted that kind of victory, anything less is poison. This humiliation you dealt them, this tearing down of their arrogance, it's not a final act. It's a beginning of a story they will never be allowed to forget. A story that is written not in the ink of convenience, but in the blood of relentless determination. You're the living contradiction to every doubt they ever harbored. You are the nightmare of every excuse they ever made. You don't owe them an explanation, because the silence of your success is the loudest explanation. They wanted you to break, crumble, disappear into the background. But you rewrote that ending. You didn't just walk through their fire, you became the fire. And now they stare, wide-eyed, desperate for the chance to understand how you did it. But understanding is a luxury reserved for those who never had to fight. You know the truth. The fight was brutal. The fight was lonely. The fight was the kind that steals sleep, steals sanity, steals everything. But it cannot steal your will. It cannot steal your heart. You carried the weight of their disbelief and transformed it into wings. You soared while they remained earthbound, shackled by their fear of what you might become. Their doubt was your fuel, their mockery your grindstone, and every time you felt like giving up, you chose to rise. This isn't just motivation. This is a manifesto, a declaration for every soul who has ever been cast aside, ignored, or made to feel less than. This is the anthem of the broken who refuse to stay broken, the lost who become leaders, the weak who become warriors. You didn't just survive the darkness, you owned it. You looked into the abyss and told it, you don't own me. And because of that, your story is no longer just yours. It's a beacon for anyone who's ever been told they weren't enough. You've turned their disbelief into your victory, their laughter into your crown. But be warned, the path you've chosen is not a gentle one. Because now, every new challenge you face will be met with the memory of what you've already conquered. You can't retreat to the comfort of the familiar anymore. The world expects more from you, demands more from you, and inside, the fire that humiliated your past enemies demands more too. It whispers that the best revenge is to keep going, to keep building, to keep dominating, to keep showing up when everyone else has quit, to remind them every single day that you are not a mistake, that you are the storm they never saw coming. So when they tell you you're lucky, smile, because luck is for the weak. You earned everything with sweat and pain and nights so dark you thought you'd never see morning. You earned your place with scars they'll never understand, with battles they'll never witness. You earned it with a hunger so fierce it swallowed every excuse, every doubt, every attempt to stop you. And now, you stand tall, a living monument to the power of relentless will. And if you ever feel the pull to stop, to rest, to turn back, remember who you were when they wrote you off. Remember the faces that looked down on you and the voices that said you'd fail. Remember the tears you hid, the moments you fought to keep going when the world was against you. Remember that you didn't just prove them wrong, you humiliated them. And that humiliation is a legacy you carry with pride. It's a fire that will never go out. It's a voice that will never be silenced. It's a truth that will never be denied. Keep moving forward. Keep fighting. Keep proving them wrong again and again and again. Because this is your story and no one gets to rewrite it but you. And no matter what happens next, you have already won the war they thought they started. They say the night is darkest just before the dawn, but you became the night. You became the darkness that no dawn could ever fully pierce. You embraced the cold silence, the crushing weight of doubt, the suffocating loneliness, and from it, you forged a power so fierce it scares even the bravest souls. You weren't born with this strength. No one handed it to you. You stole it from the jaws of despair. You wrestled it free from the depths where most would have drowned, and now you carry it like armor, not to protect you from the world, but to remind the world who dared to bury you alive. They thought you'd rot underground, forgotten and useless. Instead, you grew roots that cracked the very ground beneath their feet. You didn't just humiliate their judgment, you humiliated their entire belief system. The comfortable lies they told themselves about you, the lazy assumptions they made, the way they underestimated the fire in your soul, all of it has been laid bare by your triumph. Every success of yours is a slap in the face to their certainty, a challenge to their complacency. And that's why they hate it. That's why they can't look away. Because you became the proof that they were wrong. Not just a little wrong, but catastrophically, humiliatingly wrong. And let's be clear, this isn't about revenge or malice. This is about justice. The justice of proving that your worth was never dependent on their approval. The justice of living a life so rich and powerful that their doubt becomes irrelevant noise in the background. The justice of transforming pain into pride, weakness into unbreakable strength, silence into a deafening roar that echoes through the halls of every place that ever rejected you. Look back for a moment, if you dare. Look back at every time you were told you couldn't, that you shouldn't, that you wouldn't. Look at those moments and see what they truly were. Fuel. They were the gasoline you needed to ignite the inferno inside you. They were the stones in your path, meant to trip you, but instead, they became your stepping stones. Every insult, every slight, every whispered doubt, they were not weights dragging you down. They were weights you lifted, one by one, and turned into trophies of your rise. And now that you stand here, towering over the ruins of their expectations, you understand something fundamental. The greatest humiliation isn't just winning. It's doing so with grace, with quiet strength, with a calm that unnerves them more than any outburst could. You don't have to scream to be heard. You don't have to brag to be noticed. Your life is your voice. Your achievements are your statement. Your resilience is your legacy. Remember this. The people who doubted you are trapped in their own minds, prisoners of their own fear and limitation. They're the ones stuck in a cycle of small thinking, unable to escape the chains they place on themselves. You, on the other hand, are free. Free because you refuse to accept the world's definition of you. Free because you broke every barrier they built to cage you. Free because your spirit is wild, unrelenting, and unapologetically hungry for more. So hold your head higher. Walk with a confidence that comes from knowing you've faced the abyss and stared it down without flinching. Let your presence be a constant reminder that you are the nightmare of every doubter, the contradiction to every naysayer, the victory that none of them saw coming. Because you didn't just survive their judgment, you thrived in spite of it. And that is the most savage, most beautiful form of revenge. But beware, this journey never ends. The moment you stop pushing, the moment you grow complacent, You give them a crack to sneak back in. You owe it to yourself to keep the fire burning, to keep challenging every limit, to keep turning every no into a new mountain. You'll climb higher than before. Because the real power lies not just in winning once, but in never letting anyone forget who you are, what you stand for, and how far you've come. You are not here by accident. You are here because you were meant to rise, because you were meant to break the mold, shatter expectations, and rewrite the story that everyone thought was already written. You are the chaos they feared, the storm they prayed wouldn't come, the silence before the roar. You are the living proof that some souls are too wild to be tamed, too fierce to be ignored, too relentless to be defeated. So keep your fire burning, keep your spirit unbroken, and keep humiliating the doubts that tried to define you. Because every day you live your truth, every day you rise above their noise, every day you prove their darkest assumptions wrong. You remind the world, and more importantly yourself, that you are unstoppable, and no one will ever be able to take that away from you. So here you stand, not as a victim, not as a shadow, but as the storm itself. Every scar on your body, every wound you carry, is proof that you survived the impossible. They tried to write your story for you, tried to bury your truth beneath layers of doubt and mockery, but you refused to be silenced. You shattered their expectations so violently that what remains is more than just proof. It's a declaration that you are not what they predicted, not what they hoped, but something far greater. You became the nightmare that haunts their complacency, the legend that outshines their disbelief. And this is your moment, the moment you claim not just victory, but domination over every voice that said you'd fail. Never forget the power of your journey. It's not the trophies or the accolades that define you, but the relentless fire inside that refused to die, even when the world told you to give up. That fire is your true crown, the only thing that no one can ever take from you. You didn't just prove them wrong, you humiliated the very foundation of their doubt. Every step you took forward was a step through their walls of disbelief, tearing down every limitation they forced upon you. And while they continue to wonder how you did it, you know the truth. It was never about luck, talent, or favor. It was about refusing to stay broken, refusing to accept less than your worth, and having the courage to become the force they never imagined. But this is not the end. This is the crucible that forges you into something even greater, because the fire that humiliated your past enemies now fuels your future. You will face new challenges, harder battles, and deeper darkness. Yet you will face them with the same unbreakable spirit, the same ferocity, and the same ruthless determination. You don't stop here, and you don't slow down. Because true power is not just in rising once, it is in rising again and again, each time stronger, more defiant, and more unstoppable than before. Let them watch in disbelief. Let them whisper and wonder. You are proof that limits are illusions, and doubt is the fuel of the relentless. So hold your head high and wear your scars like armor, because you earned every single one. You are the living proof that what they said about you was a lie you didn't just disprove, but obliterated. You didn't just win their battles, you humiliated their certainty. And as long as you keep moving forward, as long as you keep breaking the chains of expectation, you will remain the force they feared and the champion you were always meant to be. This is your legacy, your war cry, your truth, and no one will ever silence it again. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. You've arrived at a turning point, a place where success is no longer a matter of luck, or circumstance, but of deliberate action. This moment, right here, is yours to command. You fought for it, struggled for it, and bled for it. You have stood face to face with obstacles that were meant to break you. Yet here you are, not just standing tall, but dominating. The game has changed, and you, my friends, are the ones who have flipped it. They thought they had you figured out. They thought they had control. But now, as they watch from a distance, it is them who are drowning in the chaos they once tried to impose upon you. Now, they are the ones losing. When you began this journey, they underestimated you. They thought you were just another face in the crowd, another soul who would fade into the background. They believed that their power, their resources, and their influence would crush you before you even had the chance to step into the arena. But they didn't know you. They didn't know the fire that burned inside you, the determination that kept you pushing forward when all seemed lost. They didn't know that you would not just play the game, you would rewrite the rules entirely. The truth is, they were so consumed with their own sense of superiority that they never saw you coming. They were blinded by their arrogance, too busy making plans for your downfall to even consider that you might be planning something bigger. They assumed their position at the top was unshakable, that no one could ever challenge their dominance. But you were never about taking the easy path. You were never about doing things the way they wanted you to. You took the long road, the one that required sacrifice and grit. You embraced every struggle, every hardship, and turned it into the strength you needed to rise. You were ready when the moment came to take control. They watched, clueless, as you began to shift the tides. Every move you made, every decision you took, it was calculated. Every setback you experienced became a lesson that fueled your desire to push further. You were patient, waiting for the right time to strike. And when that time came, you moved like lightning. You flipped the game on them with precision, using their own arrogance against them. They didn't even know what hit them. They thought they were in charge, but all along, it was you who held the power. It was you who controlled the narrative. It was you who had been writing your story all along, one move at a time. Now, as you stand in this moment of victory, they are scrambling. The tables have turned, and the very forces they relied on are crumbling beneath their feet. The empire they built is eroding, piece by piece, as you carve your own path to success. They are left watching in disbelief as everything they thought they controlled slips away, slipping through their fingers like sand. They are the ones losing now. The very thing they feared most has come to pass. You've outsmarted them, outworked them, and now you're taking the crown. But here's the thing. Don't expect them to admit defeat. Don't expect them to congratulate you or acknowledge your brilliance. They never will. Their pride is too great, and their ego is too fragile. Instead, they will try to tear you down. They will try to make you doubt yourself. They will attempt to create new obstacles in your path, new challenges to break you. But what they don't realize is that they no longer have the power to stop you. They don't hold the keys to your success anymore. You've taken that from them, and now you control your own destiny. They may still try to play the game, but their moves will be clumsy and desperate. They'll make mistakes that they never would have made before, because they no longer understand the game the way they once did. You flipped the script, and they're left trying to follow a playbook that no longer applies. You've exposed their weaknesses, and now it's their turn to deal with the consequences of their own ignorance and pride. It's not just a victory for you, it's a lesson they will never forget. The game has changed, and they will be left to watch as you continue to rise. This is the power of perseverance. This is the power of never giving up when everyone expects you to. This is the power of playing the long game. They thought they could break you. They thought they could control your fate. But instead, you flipped the game on them. You turned every disadvantage into an advantage. You used every setback as fuel for your ambition. And now, they are left to suffer the consequences of their arrogance, while you stand at the top, ready to claim your prize. They will try to find ways to distract you, to discourage you. But remember, they are only trying to cling to the remnants of a game they no longer understand. They will try to manipulate the rules again, to rewrite the narrative to fit their needs. But their time has passed. They had their chance, and they squandered it. Now, they will be left to watch as you rewrite the future. You've shown them that you are unstoppable. You've proven that they are not the ones in control. You are the one with the power. You are the one who has the upper hand. Now, it's time to step into the next phase of your journey. It's time to build upon your victory. Don't settle for just winning the battle. Win the war. Don't stop now. The moment you rest is the moment they have a chance to catch up. Stay relentless. Stay focused. Keep pushing forward. You have proven that you can take on the world and win. Now, prove that you can do it again and again. Because this is just the beginning. Your victory is not a one-time event. It is a statement. It is a testament to the strength, resilience, and power that resides within you. The game has changed. You've turned the tables. They are the ones who are losing now, and they will continue to lose, because they cannot compete with what you've become. They cannot compete with the force of will, the drive, and the brilliance that now defines you. So, let them watch as you continue to rise. Let them watch as you take control and carve out your destiny. Because in the end, they will be left with nothing but their failed attempts to bring you down, while you stand at the pinnacle of your success. You've flipped the game, and now they're the ones losing. But let me make something clear here. The loss they're facing is not just about the outcome of a game. This is a loss of everything they thought they knew about power, about control, about success. You see, they built their empire on arrogance, on underestimating others, on exploiting weaknesses. They thought that success was a linear path, one where they simply dominated from the top, where they sat as kings, and others were just mere subjects beneath them. But in the end, what they didn't realize is that the foundation they built their world upon was fragile, and now the cracks are becoming visible. When they first saw you, they dismissed you. You were just another contender in the ring. They thought they knew what it took to defeat you before you ever had the chance to rise. They thought they could just ignore you, treat you as irrelevant. But in doing so, they missed something vital: your relentless persistence. You weren't like the others. You didn't need a grand stage or a loud announcement to make your mark. You worked in silence, gathering strength, honing your skills. You didn't just play the game. You studied it, dissected it, and found the angles they never even considered. They thought they were invincible, and in their delusion, they failed to see how their own hubris was slowly leading them to their downfall. Now, they're scrambling, trying to regain the control they thought was theirs by right, but it's slipping through their fingers, and they don't know how to stop it. They spent years, maybe decades, living in their bubble of certainty. They surrounded themselves with sycophants, people who never questioned them, who praised their every move, and in doing so, they sealed their fate. They lived in a world where their word was law, where their decisions were unquestioned, and where the consequences of their actions never truly reached them. But you didn't just accept things as they were. You didn't let the status quo define you. You saw the cracks in their empire long before they did. You saw the lies they told themselves, the foundation that was destined to crumble. And while they were distracted, patting themselves on the back, you were laying the groundwork for your own rise, preparing to strike when they least expected it. They didn't see you coming, and that is what's breaking them now. The true beauty of your victory is not that you've taken something from them, but that you've created something they never could. You've built your success on your own terms, using the lessons you learned from every failure, every rejection, every hardship you faced along the way. You've learned to adapt, to pivot, to evolve, while they remained static, relying on old tricks and outdated methods. They believed that what worked in the past would continue to work in the future. They never understood the dynamic nature of progress, of change, and so they're stuck. They're drowning in a sea of their own inadequacies, while you continue to ride the tide of your success, effortlessly carving your path forward. But let's not forget, the road to this moment has not been easy. You didn't just wake up one day and find yourself on top. You didn't just flip the game by chance. You earned this. Every bruise, every setback, every moment of doubt, it all played a part in shaping the person you've become today. You've been through the fire. You've had your world shaken to its core. You've faced moments when it seemed impossible to go on, when everyone around you doubted your ability to succeed. But in those moments, when the world told you to quit, you didn't. You dug deeper. You found strength in places you never knew existed. You found courage when fear should have held you back. And now, as you stand on the other side of it, you realize that it was never about the obstacles you faced, but how you chose to rise above them. While they continue to choke on their own mistakes, you stand as a beacon of what's possible when you refuse to settle, when you refuse to let others dictate your narrative. You've turned every obstacle into a stepping stone. You've taken every punch thrown at you and turned it into fuel for your ambition. And now, they have no choice but to watch as you soar higher than they ever imagined possible. But here's the thing they never understood. Success is not about stomping on others to get to the top. It's about building something sustainable, something that lasts. Your rise isn't a fluke. It's a carefully calculated series of steps that you took, even when no one else believed in you. You've created a foundation so strong that no one can ever knock it down. They, on the other hand, built their empire on unstable ground, thinking they could avoid the consequences of their actions. And now, that foundation is crumbling, piece by piece, because it was never built to last. They thought they could play the game by their own rules, but the universe doesn't care about their arrogance. The world doesn't reward those who rely on shortcuts. And now, as they desperately try to fix what they broke, you're already looking ahead to your next move, ready to continue building your empire, brick by brick. There's an undeniable satisfaction in watching them fall. It's not that you wish harm on anyone, but there's a sense of justice in watching the ones who sought to break you face the consequences of their own actions. They had every opportunity to change, to evolve, to treat others with respect, but they chose not to. They chose to remain in their bubble of superiority, believing they were untouchable. And now, they are paying the price for their hubris. They are losing because they never understood the most important truth in life. Success is not a one-time event. It's a mindset, a relentless pursuit, a commitment to growth and improvement. They thought they had it all figured out, but they never anticipated the one thing that would lead to their downfall. Your ability to keep moving forward, no matter the cost. And now, as they desperately scramble to salvage their empire, you can't help but recognize the emptiness of their victory. They built their success on the backs of others, using people as stepping stones, exploiting every opportunity to enrich themselves while crushing everyone in their path. But you've built something different. You've built your success from the ground up, with integrity, with hard work, and with an unwavering belief in yourself. You didn't need to tear others down to lift yourself up. You did it with honor, with a clear vision, and with the kind of strength that comes from facing adversity and overcoming it. They may have temporarily held the crown, but in the end, It was you who proved that true power doesn't come from domination. It comes from resilience. It comes from the ability to rise time and time again, no matter the odds. Now, as they watch you continue to climb, they will try to undermine you. They will attempt to recreate the illusion of control. But they are grasping at straws. They are trying to hold on to something that is already slipping away. The game has changed, and they no longer understand the rules. They are the ones losing, not because they were outplayed, but because they never understood the game in the first place. And as they struggle to adapt, you will continue to move forward, because you have something they never will: the ability to evolve, to grow, and to succeed on your own terms. The game is yours now. You've flipped it. And now, they are the ones who must learn the hard lesson of what it means to lose. So take a moment and look around. Understand that every single step you've taken has brought you here. Every single sacrifice, every single fight, every single moment of pain, it's all led to this. You've flipped the game on them. You've turned the tables. And now, they are the ones losing. They are the ones scrambling to catch up, while you're already moving ahead, building the future they can only dream of. They underestimated you. They thought they had won, but they were wrong. And now, the victory belongs to you. And with it comes the power to shape your own destiny. Because you, and only you, hold the keys to your future. Let them watch as you continue to rise, knowing that it is you who controls the game now. And they, well, they are the ones losing. And as they watch their empire crumble around them, they can't help but realize that their downfall was inevitable. It wasn't some random twist of fate or unforeseen event that did them in. It was their own arrogance. It was their blind belief that they could stay on top forever, without changing, without adapting, without understanding that the game was always evolving. While they sat in their ivory towers, thinking the world would bend to their will, you were down in the trenches, learning, growing, and most importantly, adapting. You never sat still. You never waited for the world to hand you anything. You seized it for yourself. And now, as they stand there, watching their world unravel, you're standing at the top, watching it all unfold with clarity, knowing it was never a matter of if, but when. The truth is, they were never ready for you. They were too busy believing their own hype to understand that the very system they had built their lives around was fundamentally flawed. They thought they were invincible because they had been successful for a time. But they missed the most important lesson of all. Success is never permanent unless you work for it every single day. They thought their past victories would be enough to carry them forward, but as the world changed, they stayed stagnant. They failed to innovate, failed to evolve, and failed to recognize that they were being outpaced by someone who was hungry, someone who was relentless, someone who refused to follow the rules they had set. And this is where the real difference lies. They had success handed to them on a silver platter, the product of manipulation, luck, and sheer privilege. But you had to fight for every inch of progress you've made. Nothing came easy for you. No one gave you a seat at the table. You didn't rely on connections or shortcuts to get ahead. You relied on your own strength, your own skills, and your own vision. While they rested on their laurels, you were out there grinding, pushing yourself beyond your limits. You were willing to take the risks they were too afraid to take. You were willing to face the challenges they thought were too great to overcome. You never sought validation from anyone. You sought growth, and it's that pursuit of growth that's now paying off. But here's the thing. They're losing more than just their power. They're losing their identity. They are nothing without the empire they've built. Without the prestige, the wealth, and the control, they have nothing left to stand on. They've based their entire existence on being the top dog, on being the one who calls the shots. Without that, who are they? Without that, what purpose do they have? And this is what you've done to them. You've stripped them of their illusion of invincibility. You've revealed their greatest weakness, which is their dependency on external validation. They were never strong because of their abilities. They were strong because the world allowed them to be. And now, the world is no longer on their side. The game is flipped, and they are no longer the dominant force. They are the ones scrambling, trying to maintain relevance in a world that no longer cares about them. They're the ones losing because they never took the time to build a foundation that could weather the storms. You, on the other hand, have spent years building resilience. You've faced obstacles head-on, never shying away from the difficult work. Every setback was an opportunity to grow stronger. Every failure was a lesson, not a reason to quit. You've become something they can never be, adaptable, resilient, and driven by purpose. You've mastered the art of reinvention. They were so busy enjoying the fruits of their past successes that they never saw the need to evolve. They never thought they would need to. But the game has changed. The world has moved on. And now they're left behind, watching in disbelief as someone they once dismissed takes their place. But let's not be mistaken. They will try to claw their way back. They will try to make a comeback, to regain control, to reassert their dominance. But here's the hard truth for them. It's too late. You've already surpassed them. They will never be able to catch up to the level you've reached. They may still try to pull the strings from behind the scenes, but the truth is they no longer have the influence they once had. People see through them now. The cracks are showing. They can't hide behind their power anymore. And as they try to regain their footing, you will continue to move forward, never looking back. You will continue to build, to grow, and to rise. They may try to disrupt you, but every attempt will be futile because they have no real power over you anymore. They only ever had power because you allowed them to. You were never their victim. You were always the one in control. And now they see that. It's a bitter pill for them to swallow, isn't it? The people who once scoffed at you, who tried to undermine you at every turn, who laughed at your ambitions and mocked your dreams. Those same people are now watching as you take everything they once held dear. You've proven that their assumptions about you were wrong, that their arrogance was misplaced, and that they were never in control to begin with. And now, with every victory you achieve, they are faced with the brutal reality that they are the ones losing. They were never as invincible as they thought. They were never as powerful as they believed. They were always just one mistake away from collapse. And that mistake was underestimating you. And while they wallow in their defeat, you will continue to rise. Because that's the thing about true power. It doesn't rely on external validation. It doesn't depend on luck or privilege. It comes from within. It comes from the fire inside you, the one that never goes out, no matter how dark the world may get. You've built your strength on your own terms. You didn't wait for someone to hand it to you. You fought for it. You earned it. And now, no one can take it from you. And here's the thing. They will try to rewrite the narrative. They will try to make it seem like they were the victims, like they were the ones who were wronged. They will try to make it seem like the game was never really fair, that they were somehow cheated out of their success. But it's all lies. Because in the end, you didn't win because of luck. You won because you were willing to do what they never could. You were willing to fight when they gave up. You were willing to get your hands dirty when they thought they were too good for that. You were willing to play the long game while they were playing checkers. And that's why you're standing here now, while they're losing everything they've built. It's not enough for them to just lose the game. They're losing their place in history. They're losing their relevance. They're losing the respect of those they once held in the palm of their hand. People are seeing them for what they really are: frauds, manipulators, and opportunists. They're losing the one thing that matters most: trust. And when trust is gone, everything else crumbles. They'll never be able to rebuild what they had. They'll never have the same power again. Because you've shown them that it was never about the game they played. It was about the game they couldn't even see. And that's where your real victory lies. They've lost because they couldn't see the future. They couldn't see that the world was changing, that they couldn't keep playing by the same rules. But you did. You saw the potential. You saw the opportunities that they missed. You saw the way forward, the way to the top, and you seized it. While they were too busy holding on to what they had, you were busy creating something far greater. And now, they'll never be able to catch up. They'll always be playing catch up while you continue to rise, to grow, to build. Because you're not just playing the game, you're changing it. So let them watch as you climb higher. Let them watch as they lose everything. Because in the end, they were never meant to stay on top. You were. In the end, they are the ones losing because they failed to see the truth. Success isn't about holding on to power. It's about adaptability, resilience, and the ability to evolve. While they were blinded by arrogance, you quietly built something stronger. Now, as they watch their empire crumble, you stand at the peak, not just a victor, but a testament to what happens when you refuse to be held down. You didn't just play the game, you transformed it. And that's why, in the end, it is you who will continue to rise, while they are left behind.